This is my CRF50 endurance bike. This is a pile of spare parts that I want to turn into something that looks like this for somebody that rides something like that. So there's a bit of a funny story behind this bike. When I brought it home, my daughter saw it and she said, "It's so cute, I love it." And I said, "Oh yeah, one day you could have it. It'll be your bike." And I thought she'd forget because she was like 2.5 or 3 at the time. Here's a picture of her on it right now. And now she's been reminding me constantly that it is her bike, and I keep blowing up her bike, and I need to make her bike right. So a couple things about this build. For this build, we are going to go with a stock top end. It's going to be a 50cc, it's not going to be an 88. We're also going to ditch the high bars, we're going to go for the stock bars. We're also going to go with a stock throttle tube and cable because you can limit these using a little screw, so that she can't whiskey throttle this as, you know, she's learning to ride. And this is going to be her build. So she's going to dictate colors and whatnot, but please leave it down in the comments what you would like to see on a child's, you know, CRF50. Not something like this, you know, this is adult stuff. Child CRF50, what do you want to see? Because I'm sure she's got ideas. Everything's going to be a certain color. I'm sure there's some stuff out there that I'm not thinking of that would be cool on this build. Cool thing about these bikes is they are small. This is the frame we're looking at here. And a while ago I gave it a paint with some of the rust converter, I think. So this is like just a black that was converting any rust that was on it. I missed a few spots like this little section here when I taped it off. So what we're gonna do, it's really dusty. I'm gonna clean this off. We're gonna tape up anything that should be taped up, like the rear brake, some of the engine mounts, just to keep them clear from paint. And we're gonna do, you know, tape off the headstock again. And we're gonna give this a coat of gloss black because I think it'll look better with this build because I think we're gonna end up with some glossy colors. So yeah, let's clean this off, shove some aluminum in here, and then pop some tape over the top. That way we're not messing up the bearing races or anything with paint. Alright, so we got a bit of junk on this rear brake kind of pivot here. I'm just going to hit it with some degreaser. And I got a little bit of Scotch-Brite here. I'm just clean that up. Sweet. I just got some blue painter's tape here. I'm going to tape that off. I totally forgot this was an XR50 frame. So I'm going to cover this up. I don't have the title for it, and the VIN number is actually on the headstock. But I like having this here kind of, I don't know, reminds me of what it is, which is pretty fun. There we go. Lucky me, I never actually removed the tape that I had over the VIN, so we'll leave that on there. This is more or less just to have something for the tape to stick to, because this tiny little edge, it tends to like peel up. So give it a little bit more surface area to stick to. Alright, so I taped up the swing arm too. I'm going to paint this gloss black as well. Might change in the future, but I think it'll be good to kind of offset some of the colors we're going to have. Got the good enough for government work tape job on here. It's hopefully not covering up too much. There we go. And I'll make sure these are out of the way when I paint it. But just to cover up the the pivot points for the swing arm. Not too bad since they've already been painted, I think. And honestly, it's not going to matter too much. But just to do a little bit more than what I did before, because we can see like there's some spots I missed before when I was being super lazy. But yeah. Alright, let's get these painted. Alright, we got the backyard paint booth all set up. And our 99-cent quick color spray enamel. Go ahead and give this a little light coating. Alright, we'll let all the bugs land on this and embed themselves in the paint and do a couple more coats. So while the frame and the swing arm are outside drying, I hooked up this terrible idea to my drill press. It's a steel wire wheel. And I'm going to clean off the, let's see, we got the swing arm pivot and then 2 engine mounts here. Awesome. So at a risk to all my digits, these now look only slightly used. Yeah, we're probably going to skip this step in the future. Not super important. There's a lot of... So they uncovered a lot of pitting in these. I probably won't go too crazy with the rest of the bolts. I just kind of want to clean them up. The pivot. Focus. The pivot bolt actually came out pretty good. If my camera would focus... There we go. And this was already pretty new when I got it. Alright, so I hit the frame and the swing arm with about 3 coats. They're definitely not perfect. I mean, just the surface wasn't great before, but they definitely look a lot better, a lot more uniform. I'm going to start assembling here with the swing arm and the pivot. And we're going to get the rear shock in there as well. Okay, so my first problem is that the spacer from the shock doesn't quite fit into the swing arm. I'm not entirely sure if the swing arm is tweaked a bit or if it's just a matter of like the paint just closing that up just enough. But I'm going to file these off a bit, try and get that to fit nice and square in there. Alright, so I took the file to these inside edges. They were a little bit rounded over just right here up in front. Knocked that down, and then I sprayed it with some more paint because I nicked kind of the center tube here and it looked like garbage on the inside. So back to a nice glossy black, and let's get this installed. Let's grab some waterproof grease too, get this lathered up. It's probably going to end up coming apart a couple times, but doesn't hurt to lube your parts. Especially anything that's pivoting. This frame is looking pretty clean, especially for just a couple coats of paint and a little bit of cleanup. It's a nice canvas to start from. I'm already super pumped on this little project. I've got a bunch of parts coming in from Amazon, some from eBay, a lot of them super cheap. I'm going for kind of a budget build on this because I know it's a learning bike. It's for my daughter, you know, she's gonna crash it, she's gonna mess it up. But I still want it to look good, I want her to get excited about it, so that's kind of where we're heading. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. See you in the next one.